right, let's go over here. Over here. I wish that I could swap torpedoes. Like, why not have it so that, you know, I could press 1 or 2 because torpedo's in my second slot, and then just have it change the torpedo that's loaded. You know, like it seems like an easy feature that they wouldn't have a hard time adding in, but why didn't they do it? Did they not think about it, or were they lazy? Lazy game developers! How dare you! Propulsion to Crassfish, easy torpedo launcher. You know, that's a pretty good idea. Hey, Verdacula, how's it going? Alright, so where the heck are we going? Is this back? I think this is back to 0, because that seemed like that's where the phase gate was. Yeah. Well, actually, there's another gateway in Phi. Do we just not get access to that gate? Or maybe we're gonna have a quest and it's gonna be like, I need you to go to Phi Robotics and pull the neuro interface plug out of the phase gate and bring it here. That would make sense. Because otherwise it'll just, well, you know what, as I was saying earlier, there's a lot of other situations in this game where there's just alien technology lying around and you don't get to use it at all. So maybe that's just the phase gate, the one in Phi Labs. Maybe it's just there, and it's just there to be there, and that's it. It doesn't do anything. It'd be a little disappointment, but... You in there? How's it going? Oh, really? You're gonna invisible wall me on this? Oh no, it's because this is no longer in water. The torpedo just explodes immediately. Well, that's garbage. I thought whatever. Just disappointed, this is all.
Are you preparing to leave, Alan?
Yes, there is much to do.
Invisible wall. I guess this is why they put the invisible walls here, because there's moving parts and they don't want you to get squished. Alien Overlord, how may I serve you?
Do you still wish to leave with me? Beyond this teleporter, there is no turning back.
Are you kidding? I can't pass up a chance to see where Architect's coming from. Besides, I don't have another ride.
I do not know what we will find there. The others may be sick or angry, if they live at all.
Or you could find peace. Family.
I hope you are right. Please complete any business you still have on this planet. Join me on the other side when you are ready to leave.
I mean, I'm pretty much done. The only thing that I forgot to do, you know, actually, the only thing I forgot to do was I never got the Preston plant from the Marguerite greenhouse, the purple fruit. I should have taken one of those and planted it in my base. Why does Robin care so much? Why does she care so much about this guy? Focus on yourself, lady. I no longer have an inventory.
Robin, you're just in time. The phase gate is opening.
I was gonna say...
You've been hiding a phase gate here this whole time.
Only for the last millennium. It will lead us home.
No wonder you hid yourself from Altera.
It was imperative to keep the homeworld safe, in hopes that the others survived.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it looks remarkably like the planet we just left. Oh, we're still on the same planet. This is the big phase gate. This is the big teleporter.
Will you help me prepare the ship? The energy masts must be moved into place.
This is different.
Press 8 to report bugs. Do I need to? Still don't have an inventory. Whee! Would you like to tell me what to do and where to go? Okay. Oh. Apparently I'm made of anti-gravity now too. Thank you for that. It's like a weak prawn suit. What? There was an indication for something. Oh. Oh, okay. Go up to the things and click on them. Sweet. Alright, I mean, like, that's cool and all, but let the player do this.
Very good. Return to me and I will initiate ship assembly. Thank you. The masts are in place. The energy field is ready. There is no time to lose. Join me, Robin.
Make up your mind, where am I supposed to stand?
I apologize. The levitator was calibrated for heavier bodies. I would have helped you to your feet, but as you can see, I have been fully integrated with the ship.
Is this permanent?
Nothing is permanent. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, you could say that. Ready to leave the past behind.
Is this permanent? Good lord.
Please brace yourself, and then we will depart.
Actually brace yourself. Turn around so you can see.
Launching in 3, 2, 1.
What will we find when we get there?
If I am the last of my kind, I will experience the sorrow of 10,000 souls dimming.
And if they survived?
With you, I am ready to face whatever awaits.
Title drop. Gotta love the debris going through the ship. Yeah, there was something that looked like it actually looked like a horseshoe or like a human jaw or something. It was just like a U shape. Just went directly into the middle of the camera. Anyways, hey, that's Subnautica Below Zero. I didn't realize we were that close to finishing it, but I kind of expected once we completed the Sam quest line. Honestly, Mighty Odin says, obviously some fine-tuning to do for the end sequence. I definitely have thoughts on Below Zero. I don't know how much time I want to spend just talking about them here. I was actually thinking at some point to kind of go through and post-review games that I've played, not even just the games that I played a lot of, like Gungeon or Isaac or Monolith or Slay the Spire, just talking about the games that I think have obviously gotten something right, but even games that I just kind of do one-offs of, like Subnautica 2, even games I haven't played for YouTube or Twitch, just games that I have played in the past that I have opinions on. And maybe do like a little bit of a series of that where I just kind of like talk about games. But Subnautica 2, I prefer Subnautica 1 over Subnautica 2. There's a lot of little differences between them that I think makes one the superior game. I think the Sea Truck is kind of trash. It doesn't feel good. I like the Prawn Suit in 2. I hate the bugs in 2. There are a lot of bugs in this game that I discovered completely accidentally in my first playthrough. It's getting a little bit loud. I'm gonna bring it down a little bit. Whether it's getting stuck and having to find a way of activating the console in order to kill myself so that I can move on, or just having my prawn suit vanish at some point, seemingly at random. I still don't know if that was because of a glitch with the invisible wall in the fabrication room, or maybe it was a Leviathan that just came around and ate it and then forced me to die because I had no way of getting back up to the surface. I think that the character that you play is an idiot, and I enjoyed the silent protagonist of Subnautica 1 better because they didn't have a story. Their story, their reason for being on the planet was their ship crashed and they have to survive. Our character story starts with our character being a complete idiot about everything, almost getting themselves killed, even just getting down to the planet. I mean, this is not a smart character. I mean, why in the end would she say, is this permanent? You integrated with the ship? No, of course it's not permanent. Was it permanent that he was in your head? No. He's cybernetic. Of course it's temporary. Like, she just can't, it feels like your character doesn't understand what's happening around her. But even then, like, the plot of the game of Subnautica 2, it feels like story-wise, there could have been a lot better of a plot to this. Like, it feels like an early access plot is what it feels. It feels like they had something small and they added to it, and then they wrote the plot that they wanted and they needed more, so they threw in like an AI that goes in your head, and they added it so that they can put in more content in the game as opposed to making a more involved, deeper plot. Like, the fact that they even go back to the bacterium from Subnautica 1 feels like a letdown. Like, there's no other villain. In fact, there's not even a villain in this game. There's nothing. The bacterium isn't really a villain because we didn't do anything with it. You know, we didn't observe that Altair was researching it, develop an antibody, like the first game. Sam, the character, your sister, that feels like the character from Subnautica 1, because both characters discovered that it existed, discovered that Altera wanted it, developed an antibody to fight it, And I don't know why Sam didn't deploy the antibody. That's something that I don't understand at all. Why didn't Sam cure the Leviathan in the cave? She had the antibody made. She put it in a cave, and then she blew up the entrance to the Leviathan without doing anything about it. Like Marguerite was saying, you gotta. She was the one who encouraged Sam to actually inflict sabotage, like literal sabotage, blowing up the cave and blocking off access to the Leviathan. But why didn't she cure the Leviathan and then do it, or just cure the Leviathan and then there's no need to destroy the cavern? It doesn't make any sense that that's what happened. And then Sam just died, well, again, there's no evidence that she died, but Sam just died due to her own stupidity in setting off an explosion that destroyed the cavern. Marguerite has like no feelings about this one way or another. She's not saddened by the death that she caused, radicalizing Sam to use explosives to solve the problem instead of science. And Alterra, like, in the first game, there's a villain. The villain is the bacteria. Alterra, it's not really explicitly stated, I think, I don't quite remember it, but it's never really explicitly stated that they know everything that's happening on the planet. I think that Alterra in the first game, they know that there's an alien presence there, but they don't quite understand it. But the bacterium in the first game is the villain, because you are infected, you start to experience side effects, you have to cure it so that you can leave because it'll kill you. Sam, she might have a villain in the bacteria, but her villain is really Alterra. She hates the company. She doesn't like the fact that the company is researching the virus that is here on the planet, and she destroys it so that Alterra can't get it. But when we come in, the player character, we don't really get this. We don't really get that Alterra is a villain corporation. We're supposed to have played Subnautica 1 and inferred a bunch of things, but we start the game with her saying, I'm done with Alterra, I don't need a pickup, I'm out of here, when she leaves her ship, whatever the name of it is that stops by the first time. We get little hints from the dialogue from the PDAs saying, yeah, we're doing research on the bacterium, but they never say we're doing biological weapons research. They're researching a bacterium, which in itself isn't a reason to want to stop the research. We don't know much about Alterra in this game. If this is a standalone game, everyone hates Alterra. Okay, why? Well, what's the reason for this? We have no knowledge about this. Maybe there was some PDAs that I missed. Maybe there was some PDA information about Robin, and it's 6 years ago, the Alterra Corporation, was caught doing evil genetic experiments on Kappa Prime, and maybe there's some news entries that we could have read or something. But none of that is actually described to us in the game. And so I feel like Alterra is supposed to be the villain. Sam wants to prevent Alterra from getting access to the bacterium. Robin doesn't care about Alterra, which is why she left the company to come down to the planet to find her sister, to hopefully get her out of the evil clutches of Alterra. Marguerite hates Alterra. The robot hates Alterra. Why do all these people hate Alterra? It's not clear. It's not obvious. I think we're just supposed to infer that, oh, they're doing research, they must be bad. But they're researching a alien bacteria. Oh, but it's it's okay to research the penguins, but not the bacteria? If this thing is deadly, shouldn't they research it to make sure that they have a way of synthesizing the cure and possibly learning more about, extreme biological agents? Maybe they'll find a cure for some horrible disease on Earth. This stuff happens every day. It happens today, in today's life. Scientists study bacteriums and viruses. I mean, we have a viral storage bank somewhere in I don't know where. I'm pretty sure doesn't that exist? Isn't there a bacterial storage facility that houses Ebola and AIDS and all these horrible illnesses that polio and things that have been wiped out? I think we still have these. We store them in a vault for research. So why is researching this bacteria bad? In the first game, research didn't matter because you had to survive, and no one was going to save you. You had to do it yourself. But in this game, none of the story really feels like it matters. But I also have another little bit of a complaint, which is that it does feel a little bit wider. You know, in Subnautica 1, the world itself, it was big, it was wide. You know, it had a, X coordinates, it was like several kilometers long, Y coordinates, it was several kilometers long. You had a couple of islands, you had the Aurora ship, but primarily you went down. You went down deep into the ocean and you dived. You dived deep. The lower facility in that game, I believe it was like 2,000 kilometers deep. I don't remember in Subnautica the depths of the locations. You know, I just found it after a quick Google search. Lava Lake was 1,500 meters. I'm pretty certain that it was closer to like 1,800 meters, which is the lowest that you can go for the containment facility, but this says 1,500 meters. But like you kept having to explore these deeper biomes. We did get one biome that was like, what, 800 meters down, and it was the red crystal biome underneath the blue crystal biome. But like, the biomes in Subnautica 1, they're a lot larger, they're a lot more, they're a lot deeper, and it feels like you have to keep the progression going so that you can get down in through these twisting caves, so that you can actually make that progression happen. And it doesn't feel like you need as much in Subnautica 2. Like, really, how you only need to go 500 meters deep for kyanite, and then everything else is a few hundred meters down from the surface, so like you don't really need to go that deep. It feels like in Subnautica 2, they went away from what made Subnautica 1 fun, which is the fact that it takes place underwater. Subnautica 1 is different from all these other survival experience games that you get because it's underwater. That was their shtick. You build a sub. You build a bigger sub, you go exploring, and you learn what horrible beings exist down below. And then in Subnautica 2, it's like, here's 4 above-ground research bases, a large biome that features one heck of an annoying worm that always kicks you off of your snow fox, which doesn't seem to have much of a point. And it feels like the underwater bits are lacking as a result because there's fewer locations really to explore. At least it feels like there's fewer locations. I think that they tried to get around that by giving you these things to go and scan. Once you get Alan in your head, he's like, go scan these 10 things so that you can build my body. So you go do that, but it feels a little tacked on. None of the alien objects mattered. You just scan them in order to access the blueprints for the body, which I guess is fine. But like the environment, it really didn't feel as large. Like there's only a couple of interesting places, it feels like. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there are unlockable depth modules in Subnautica 2, and there were unlockable depth modules in Subnautica 1. But in Subnautica 1, you know, the depth module for the prawn suit, like the biggest level was like 1,800 meters. In this game, it was 1,100 meters. So in this game, you know, the maximum depth you ever reached was like 1,000. And then my prawn suit vanished. And then, I mean, you got other problems. Like, for instance, so I'm just looking at a spider on my ceiling, just kind of crawling slowly. The ending. There was that sequence where you get the arms and you have to put the pillars on the I don't know, on the altar to charge the teleporter. But that was just a cutscene. Like, let the player do that. Making the player walk up to something to press a button to trigger a cutscene, to walk up to something to press a button to trigger a cutscene is boring. You know, if the goal is to put a thing on the pedestal, let the player do it. You know, we are building our base, we're exploring, we're piloting the ships. We need to let the player be in manual control over all this stuff. Oh, and then you've got the sea truck. The sea truck, which is just... It's unsatisfying. And I don't know if it's because in Subnautica 1 you had 3 ships, and in Subnautica 2 you have only 2. But I think it's unsatisfying because in Subnautica 1 there was a sense of progression. You build the Seamoth. You can go, 500 meters deep. You can explore further. You have, a little bit more storage space. You have a ship that you can use to just do a little bit of maneuvering, and then you get the prawn suit, and you can do some drilling, and then you get the Cyclops, and it's like a giant sub, and there's like a sense of progression, of grandioseness to it. And then with the sea truck, it's like, hey, do you want a little storage module? Just make it, and then attach your sea truck to it. Like, yeah, you could make it 100 modules long if you want, but like, I don't really care. I want something bigger and more grandiose than the sea truck, which is, it just feels and looks just not as exotic as the Seamoth. I mean, the Seamoth, it kind of looks like a UFO, right? Like, it's got the big circular bubble and like a metal toroid on the outside that kind of holds it in place. It feels futuristic. It feels like it's technology. And then when you have a sea truck, and it's basically like a sea train, and you just like connect and deconnect modules to it, and that's it. It's just like a big box. It doesn't even look that good. It just looks dull. I like the idea of it being modular, but that was the point of having the Cyclops. You could build inside the Cyclops using your habitat builder. You could build a fabricator, storage lockers. You could build, you couldn't build a water recycling, but you could build like plants so that you can have food with you as you go. That's fine. I understand why they had to remove it to this game. In this game, it's because the Cyclops was broken. It was overpowered in Subnautica 1 because as soon as you got the Cyclops, you didn't need a base anymore because everything could be done on the Cyclops. I think the only thing you need a base for is charging up the batteries, and even then you could get around it if you just parked your Cyclops next to a hydrothermal vent. It would just recharge off of that. So, like, you didn't need a base after you got the Cyclops. And that's why they removed it in Below Zero. They wanted players to have to build bases if they need the things you get from bases, like battery rechargers or food. Fair enough. But like, if I'm, progressing in technology, I want a new, bigger, badder-ass ship. Sea truck looks like it's for utility, says Lieutenant Dog. That's true. And there's nothing wrong with utility or function over form, but it's a video game. So I want both. I want the form and the function. Let's see, what else can we talk about? I don't know. Ideon says, I hope for a third installment where the character can be somewhat redeemed. I don't like the character of Robin. Like Sam, we don't exactly understand what was happening. We only got the little bit of information we got from PDAs. But Robin, Marguerite too. Oh Lord. Robin though, I just can't get over the line. Is it permanent? Oh, Lord. Like, it's like she has no idea what's going on. But also Marguerite. So Marguerite, in Subnautica 1, there is a ship called the Degassi, I believe. It crashed before your ship did in Subnautica 1. And the people of that ship, it was a father, a son, they were rich, and a mercenary called Marguerite, who they brought along for like protection. And they were doing some sort of like mineral survey. They wanted to find rich deposits that they could stake a claim on. And they came to the planet, they got shot down, and they survived the crash landing. They built a base. They learned about what was going on and realized that there's a disease. There's something deeper that seems to be alien, and maybe it has control over the gun towers. And they went on an excursion to try to figure out what was going on, and then we never hear from them again. Then Marguerite shows up in Subnautica 2. Why are you on my land? When you try to go to Delta Labs. And she thinks you're an Altera shill. Everyone hates Altera. Why did she hate Altera? I don't know, but we see Marguerite. She says, "Why are you on my land?" And, you know, all those PDAs that we got from her, they're just her being like, "And then I slew that Leviathan, and I was inside of his belly eating while I was healing my bones." You know, she's being a, you know, big old badass. And she's the, like, I don't know why she's in Subnautica 2. Like, I'm thinking about it, and she doesn't do anything. What does she do in Subnautica 2? For you, the player. And the answer is nothing. In universe, what does she do? She actually does destroy the research facility component of Omega Lab, which is pretty close to Marguerite's base. She convinces Sam to become a terrorist. That's pretty much it, I think. Like, there's not much that she actually does, so it feels a little strange that she was brought in as a character in Subnautica 2. Like, you could replace her with, like, anything. You could even replace her with nothing. You know, Sam could just have the inspiration to do what she does on her own. She doesn't need Marguerite to tell her that. There's no reason for that character to interact with Sam. Sam could also destroy the labs. Although that brings up another question. What happened to the people? You know, what happened to Fred? What happened to Lillian? What happened to all these people? These people who, in theory, Sam had a working or even more personal relationship with. Are they dead? Are they gone? We got no real indication that they died. We never really saw any bodies. You know, Marguerite trashed Omega Lab. Did she kill everybody? Is she a mass murderer? You know, there's questions that still need to be answered in this game. Because we don't really know what's going on. Like, we saw all of the labs. They're all in disarray. Delta, the doors were open. There's snow inside. Omega had a big hole in the ceiling and it was flooded. Phi, looks like there was a cave-in. The walkways were destroyed. There's a bunch of rubble everywhere. I guess it's possible that the explosion that closed off the Leviathan Cavern closed off Phi Labs. Kappa is underwater. I don't know what you're supposed to do to, you know, utilize that location. I guess you have to be in a prawn suit. But, like, what happened to everybody? They're all just gone. There's no bodies? Did Marguerite eat them or something? We never find Sam's body. Maybe she's still alive. There's just a lot of questions. There's a lot of, like, bad story writing, I feel like, in Subnautica 2. I don't care for, you know, doing a lot of that surface exploration. The point of these games is it's underwater. So have it take place underwater instead of on half of it on land. Yeah. I prefer Subnautica 1. It's simpler. It's simpler. The story does what it needs to do to progress the player forward, and there doesn't need to be a lot of plot or interactions with things. You don't need to interact with Altera. You don't need to interact with other characters. You know, whenever you find a life pod in Subnautica 1, everyone's already dead, which is fine. You know, you don't need to have other characters to interact with. And the motivation in Subnautica 1 is straightforward: survival. What's the motivation in Subnautica 2? Follow Sam. Well, I mean, are you really gonna fly a escape pod through a meteor storm and almost get yourself killed, and then have to, you know, survive underwater and get eaten by a Leviathan, and then awaken alien intelligence for this information? Possibly, maybe, if you're that dedicated. It seems stupid. Imagine all the sea monkey nests having bones in them. That would be great if you just, like, near Omega Lab, there's like sea monkey nests, and then you scan them and it's like the remains of Dr. Fred, and you're like, oh god, the sea monkeys. I doubt they killed him, but they probably just used his bones for their nests. Oh no. Sorry, Fred. That would have been kind of interesting. And it would have been something that didn't even have to be spelled out, but you could find, and then you know, it would give you closure, to give you a little bit more information about what's going on. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the story of Subnautica 2. I'm not a big fan of the bugs in Subnautica 2. And I'm not a big fan of all of the above ground stuff in Subnautica 2. Sure, the penguins, pretty cute and horrifying if you don't look inside of their mouths. But like the entire section of having to explore with the ice worm constantly coming up out of the ground, that something like that, to me, it feels like they put it in there so that in week 48 of their early access period, they could have release an update poster that said, look at this cool ice worm and snow fox that you can ride around on the surface. We've added this in and it's cool and awesome. It just feels like there's just no point to it because you don't do anything with it. You don't have to fight one. That area is completely optional. The snow fox is completely optional. I mean, you don't even need it at all for anything. So it just feels like it's added in just so that they could say they added it in for Subnautica 2. It feels like an early access game. Not in early access. It feels like a game that went through early access and then was released. Yeah, and we also had that dev playground. I don't mind those though. Like, we were obviously in a place we shouldn't have been in rather. Stuff like that is kind of fun, honestly, when I see it, because you can pull yourself out of the game for a minute, realize you found a secret area, and then move on. You know, that doesn't matter to me. I think it's kind of cool. I wish more of those things actually worked, but I didn't want to test the ones that made you die. I've died plenty of times through like console commands and whatnot. But yeah, if there is a Subnautica 3, what I would say is you could put it on 4546B. You should probably make it on another planet. That way you can have new everything. You know, let's make some new fish so that we don't have the same eye fish and bladder fish in every one. You know, let's make it new. Let's redesign some of the things. Put it on a new planet. Make it take place underwater. And then, you know, make some mystery that you have to solve. Make it so that you have to go deep, and you have to go deeper, and you have to go deeper. Against your better judgment, you have to go deeper. You have to go into the scary part of the game. You have to go you have to go so deep that it's completely pitch black unless you have the floodlights of your prawn suit lighting the way for you. Make it scary. Try to tap into that internal horror of the unknown black depths of the ocean. You know, the stuff that makes your skin crawl thinking about it when you're watching me jump into the blackness of the depths, when you're seeing the light leave you as the last solid ground, you know, goes further above you, out of reach. You know, watch the Abyss, the scene where the guy is in the suit falling deeper. He's going crazy. He's losing his mind, and then he snaps out of it. You know, you need to kind of tap into some like really scary emotions, which would make Subnautica amazing. But like in Subnautica 2 Below Zero, it just feels a little bit, not comic-y, but like nothing's scary in this game. Nothing surprising, maybe, like the plant that's in the ground and it grabs you with a tentacle, sure, but like nothing in Subnautica 2 was like horrifying. Nothing made me feel a chill. You know, get those chills in there. Find a way of making that happen. I'm not a game developer, you are. Anyways. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of work to be made on a game like this to kind of bring it up to par with its predecessor. And definitely the bugs were kind of annoying to deal with. But, yeah. Anyways. Below Zero.